Good afternoon to all the participants of this important event on leveraging water for peace. I am addressing you from Slovenia, a country that has only 2 weeks ago experienced the greatest water disaster in the country's entire recorded history. The terrible floods that have affected our country have caused destruction of thousands of homes, and much of infrastructure was destroyed. The total damage is estimated in billions of euros. Fortunately, there were very few human casualties. People did not panic. And human solidarity, both national and international, is now in full display. Tens of thousands of volunteers are working day and night to remove the rubble and to rebuild the necessary infrastructure. But why is this experience relevant to our discussion today? Big floods tend to generate solidarity among people and cooperation among states. People, when affected by brutal force of water, join forces to overcome the tragedy. Solidarity and social cohesion tend to prevail. International cooperation is strengthened, and all this contributes to social stability and thus to peace. But is it necessary to wait for disasters to happen? Many, although I must say not all, water disasters can be prevented. Internationally, transboundary water cooperation represents an effective form of prevention of many water disasters. It is not enough to rely on solidarity when water disasters occur. It is necessary to build solidarity by means of prevention. Preventive action, in particular transboundary water cooperation itself, strengthens international solidarity, stability, and peace. Now, these basic lessons have been relearned in all recent water disasters. For example, earlier this year in Southern Africa and last year in Pakistan, to mention just two most important examples. But then there is another problem. The problem of water shortages and prolonged droughts. Unlike floods that tend to create solidarity and cooperation, prolonged droughts create competition for water and forced migration. This often leads to violent conflict. Water cooperation, in particular transboundary and regional water cooperation, can go a long way to prevent such deterioration and contribute to the maintenance of social stability and peace. Has the world learned these lessons? Paradoxically, the level of international water cooperation is still inadequate despite the strong evidence in its favor. Now, this will have to change. Global warming will exacerbate the problems of water, including massive floods and prolonged droughts. Water is the main medium of climate change. The changes in the global water cycle are already visible, although not yet fully understood. Ultimately, all these phenomena are likely to have an adverse effect on the international stability and peace. It is therefore vitally necessary to turn the tables. Water must not be a cause of conflict. Water must be an instrument of peace. This is a political imperative of our time. Now, what has to be done? I believe that our discussion today will produce useful suggestions in that regard. Some of the relevant directions are already quite clear. For example, first, recent water disasters, such as the last year's floods in Pakistan, have shown the need for enhanced regional cooperation in developing transboundary water projects. Those projects should strengthen stability and peace in the entire subcontinent. Second, armed conflicts such as the one in Ukraine have shown the importance of protection of water infrastructure and water resources. The future efforts for peace will have to produce mechanisms that will make water cooperation a permanent feature of peace. Third, the deepening water problems, such as those affecting Iraq today, call for transboundary and regional cooperation that has to be brought to a new level to strengthen the basis of peace. Fourth, in areas of deepening development problems exacerbated by political instability and conflict, such as the region of Sahel in Africa, water management and water cooperation should become essential parts of efforts for economic recovery, development, and peace. And finally, and most important, the international community must take full advantage of the available multilateral mechanisms such as the two United Nations Water Conventions. It is encouraging that one of these conventions, originally applicable only in Europe, is open for accession to all UN member states and that the number of state parties is growing. There are many ways in which water can be leveraged for peace. Let us use the 2023 Stockholm Water Week to explore them thoroughly and to identify the ways forward. I wish you all success in your deliberations.